Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Stock Market Weekly Update Brief. And this is where we do analysis, keep things simple on the overall support and resistance levels, as well as the most likely scenario where I think price might be heading into next week for ES and NQ, so S&P 500 as well as QQQ, as well as the Mag 7s, Meta, Tesla, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Nvidia. So we're looking at all the levels. And before we start looking at the levels, let's take a look at the data first real quick. So this Friday, right, we got a huge drop. And you can see overall all the risk on sectors, right? Semis, technologies, financials all drop, right, pretty hard. You can see the only one that are greens are the three sectors that are defensive sectors. So healthcare, XLP, and utilities, XLU, are the three defensive sectors. So usually when people are risk off, these sectors are green. And for green index, right, we're back to fear again. So if this starts to hit extreme fear, which we'll talk about this in the charts, we're currently range bounding. So if we hit the lower range of this main trade overall, right, S&P 500 pretty much top the range, bottom range, right? If we hit the below or bottom range, we're likely going into close to extreme fear. That might be a good buying opportunity. So we'll see. And market participation has been pretty bearish overall in the last 2 weeks. So that is kind of showing up with green greenness as well. So hopefully this continues. Earnings next week. Most important one is just Nvidia after close. This will definitely be a market mover. So we'll have to see. The rest, not that much for me. Otherwise, unless you're playing one of these stocks, make sure to keep eye watch. And for economic data, not that much data next week for me. Otherwise, just job the claims. Usually it comes in pretty in line with forecast. And we got PCE. So we'll see what next week brings for data. And let's take a look at the charts. So pretty much, if we look at SPY, right, you can say it's already at all-time highs, right? We pretty much broke all-time highs over here. And for yes, which is the future chart, right, we are right under the resistance. We can call this a triple top, right? So the red flag for me was overall on Friday and Thursday, actually. So we zoom into the 4-hour, right? So we have this super tight range right here. Finally, it broke bull right here on Wednesday, right? See this wick up here on the 4-hour. Yeah, zoom in a little bit. So we finally broke bull right here, right? Triple top, broke bull right there. And then we lack follow through and ended up closing a day around here, right? That's fine, right? If we close a day still near the levels, right? We didn't like close all the way down here, right? So we're still in striking distance right when we close on Wednesday. So that's fine because next day we could just be like this, right? But then Wednesday, Thursday, we see this big drop, right? So that's telling me that this is a lack of follow through after this Thursday drop. Similar idea right here, right? Bounce, 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 tiny range, resistance, 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 bull break as well on Wednesday, right there at this candle for an NQ. Lack follow through, it's fine. We know we close near it. Then this Thursday thing happened as well. So that's an initial red flag for me to see lack follow through after breaking the highs for both NQ and yes. And then we get this Thursday drop. And bulls would have been fine, right? We had this big grind back up, pretty much bounce over like 60-70% of that pop, right? Went even higher actually. Bounced the entire way up for NQ. Yes, slightly weaker, but this was pretty much just a back test of this. So, and this was also pretty much just a back test of this, right? Both back tests and then reject right when we broke these lows, the sideways consolidation lows. That's a red flag for me, right? Lack follow through, crack below, back test, reject. Similar idea right here, right? So this is when you tighten up your stop losses. You can see all these lack follow throughs when we break above, and then we back test, and I started acting on resistance. You could either sell your position if you're a bull from this move up, or you just tighten your stop losses and take profit once you get stopped out around these levels. And you avoid these, and then you wait for things to settle down. Obviously, we did have pretty bad, I would say, economic data on Friday. So we have a bunch of we have some CB news on a new strain or something as well, that kind of affected the market a little bit, and so we got this big drop. And also as well, pretty technical, right? Without the news, you could have just looked at the chart and said, bull break, lack follow through, back test, rejection, break. So nothing surprising here. And now we're just looking down at this, zooming out next week, right? What are we looking for? So for me, if the bears can confirm a daily downtrend, zoom out to the daily, right? So we got a big drop, which we had multiple times throughout these past couple months, right here, 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 here. If we get a weak bounce and make that lower high, and then crack through the lower low through this reaction, then I'm looking down closer to the bottom of the range again, overall, which is right. Sport, super clear triple bottom range, right down here at this 5800. Resistance, triple top right here, super clear as well, right? So if we get confirmed daily downtrend, then we're definitely coming about to test this 5950 level zone right here. Crack through there, definitely coming back down to here, around this zone. Just test it out, and we'll see which way it ends up breaking, this range. So as long as we keep trading this range, we'll see. But if bull shows up right away on Monday, then the structure is no red flags, right? Haven't even cracked through the higher lows yet. Bounce, higher low, higher high, right? This drop hasn't even cracked through here yet. So if the bulls show up right away, then we slowly grind back up, then there's no red flags for me. But if we do make that lower high and then lower low, that's the red flag I'll be looking for. And we'll be looking down closer to the bottom of the range, similar with the Qs. Yeah, right. Uptrend. We still haven't really cracked through the pivots yet, but this is a big drop. This could be like a head and shoulders, maybe like a weak bounce, right? Make that lower high, crack through the neckline, make that lower low. That'd be red flag. Then we're looking down closer to the bottom of this range as well, right? Bounce, 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 bounce. All these wicks. Yeah, so those are the two lows, those levels I'm looking for. Scenarios for bulls and bears. Let's see what they do. Bare minimum for bears, for bulls, right? You want to confirm hourly uptrend back to your favor. Bare minimum for the daily bounce, on the hourly at least. All right, let's take a look at the rest of the Mag 7s to give us more clues to see, if they're helping, going to be helping the Qs bounce or drag it lower. And if you guys want to become a more profitable trader, check out the Patreon link for one-on-ones, where I teach advanced price actions as well as psychology of trading and how to rewire your old habits. And if any kind of sticking points you have, if you guys just want to book a 15-minute free call and talk more about it, check that out. All right, so Meta. So talking about this for the last 2 weeks, where we have this slow grind, and although no red flags on the way entire up, right? It's very lacking follow through on each new highs. And when you want to break, especially all time highs, especially when you break to new all time highs, you want to see big follow through. We just get these slow grind up and then just tinkering a little bit by little bit every day. That's pretty much a recipe for when it does break the lows of the prior day. You get something like this, where you get a 3% drop. So on the way up, we can see this teal looking line, which is the EMA 12 on the daily. It's support, and then now exactly it's resistance, right? We broke through it. Now it's like there's resistance for the last 3 days. Each high pretty much ticked it. So pretty much we can just say that as long as daily EMA 12 resistance for the EMA, then bears are in control. But we also got to keep in mind that this is just a big drop. It's not a daily trend change yet. It is slightly on the 4-hour, but you can see right there, lower high, lower low. But overall, best case for bulls would be something like this. Pick them up, pick them down. I say we bounce from here, and we get a tiny range. That'd be the best case for bulls, where we tighten things up here. especially after such a significant move up. There is no real support for me. Look at these volume. There's barely any volume on this way up. Um, so I would say we'll probably wait for it to come down closer to 660. Be where I would look for the bounce. Right, prior resistance broke above it. Let's see if it back tests the bounce from there. Get a weak bounce, something like that, and then crack through here. Then I'm looking down closer to 630 for more support. For bulls, bare minimum, we bounce right here. Let's need to get above this EMA 12 on the 4 hour at least, bare minimum. Right, EMA 12 acts support, resistance. But for now, no signs of bounce yet. Zero. Not even not even like a 2-minute bounce. So we'll see. Let's take a look at Tesla. Yeah, it's a lot weaker than all the peers. We are back testing this structure. We did bounce off of it once right here. So Tesla bulls definitely want to hold this level right here, 325 low, to make that. If we can bounce right away on Monday and set this as the higher low and break above this 367 and higher high, then we have a good chance we'll test this 375 zone. If we can break above 375, then I'm looking back up close to 400 psychological level. If bears break 325, crack through this, it's just a continuation of daily downtrend, right? Big down, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Each high is lower than prior high, so it's a downtrend. So if we break through this low again, it's just a continuation of daily downtrend. Wouldn't be surprised. So bulls definitely want to play defense here and see if they can change the trend, make a higher low and higher high, confirm an uptrend here. Then we have a good chance to 375. Do break this low, we're looking down closer to this 317 for me. 317 zone. Crack the 317. Really not much support along the way. We'll look for 300 psychological support. Right around this level, 300 and 397 for me. The next level, if we crack through here. All right, let's look at Amazon. So Amazon's looking like that head and shoulders I talked about last week and the week before, I think. Right, we zoom out to the weekly. It's almost picture perfect. Left, we got the head now. So let's see if we get a bounce here. And from that right shoulder, if this forms a weekly head and shoulders and then crack through here on the weekly, and we have weekly downtrend, market is likely topping out. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if it ends up shaping out, especially on weekly time frames, especially on longer time frames, right? Gotta be cautious of that. We haven't had a weekly downtrend in I don't even know how long. It's been a very, very long time. So let's see. We bounced pretty much right here. Looking for it. Got 11% drop from the highs to the lows into support. Right, low of this structure pretty much, and high of here, high of the last structure, and into this support. Right, this rising wedge support bounce, bounce, bounce. Pretty much touch it right there. We didn't bounce yet at all, but we'll see if it bounces Monday. Right, we zoom in. Right, it looks like a tiny candle right there. So no signs of bounce yet. But we come from 10% off the highs. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see a little bit of bounce here. And we'll see if it ends up being a weak bounce. Because if we get weak bounce, right, we come up to 220s and starts to go a little bit sideways here and can't get over it. Then we crack through this rising wedge support, right? This longer term support. And then form the head and shoulders on the weekly, right? And then crack through that. That's a red flag for me. I mean, a weekly downtrend confirm as well. So yeah, but if we just go, slow going up and then hit a new high, then this whole pattern is negated, right? We'll be back to just looking at this rising wedge resistance, rejection, 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 right? We'll just be like, okay, I'm still trading here, no big deal. So we'll see how this weekly bounce shapes up. All right, look at Google. So not good luck. Talked about last week where every high of the candle, right, is rejecting from just a low of the structure. So right, broke above, zero follow through. Boom. Now we're below it. Now it's acting as resistance. Can't even get over this low. That's a red flag. And then this is a daily bear flag. Daily bear flag right here, confirmed on Friday. Um, you see it's actually zero bounce as well. So we are right at support, right? Bounce, bounce. We're sitting right on it. I wouldn't bet my money on this trend line at all. Um, I would say there's more support coming into around this 176 to 173 zone, which is this structure, right? So if we start, we are testing literally the top of the structure, but there's more volumes trading around this zone. So if it comes a little bit lower, then I would want to expect some kind of a weak bounce. Same thing, like similar idea to Amazon, right? We come down 13%, right? Expecting a little bit bounce. It's not out of the picture, right? Come down here, hits, make a lower wick, and then V shape up, something like that. Maybe an inverse head and shoulders on the daily, like a slight, tiny one, right? And then we'll come back to test this structure if it does happen. So we'll see. Or it decides to maybe make a even bigger. Maybe on the monthly, looking more like it. Yeah. So if this makes a monthly head and shoulders, right? Maybe come down here, get a weak bounce, something like that, make a lower high, breakthrough. Although you would need, I don't know if Google's just gonna drop from here all the way to here, 27% to make that picture perfect textbook head and shoulders. It's very unlikely that's gonna happen. We still got like what? Let's see, 16%. It doesn't have to come down to the exact low, obviously, but we're talking about picture perfect. At least somewhat near it, right? We don't want to be like, oh, this is gonna have to be head and shoulders right here, and then be like that or something, and then we still got like 16% to even come to the neckline, right? It's just a little bit off, but you guys get the idea. Head and shoulders is a uptrend into a downtrend. So right, a monthly uptrend, big drop, get a weak bounce, it crack through there. That's a right monthly downtrend, right? We haven't seen a monthly downtrend in like what since this bear market. Um, so that would be a huge red flag if Amazon makes a weekly um, downtrend and Google makes a monthly downtrend. But let's just zoom back in first, right? We don't even have a weekly downtrend yet, so we don't want to go too far. But if it does start shaping up, then I will look at it with you guys and get more analysis on the longer term timeframes. But for now, we don't even have the weekly in a downtrend yet. So yeah, so we are sitting right close to support. So we'll see if we get a weak. Is it going to be a weak bounce, or are we going to V shape? Maybe make that little daily head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, and bounce back up. All right, so Microsoft, one of the ugliest charts, range bound trade, right? Top of the range, bottom of the range since March. March, actually since January 2024. So it's been a year and a little bit more. Um, yeah, and so anybody that's been buying here for the last year is either break even or in the red if you bought it up here. And when it breaks, it's gonna be a heck lot of volume coming in, right? If we crack through here, um, and then right market tanks as well, right? Heck, look, there's really no support on the way up here until this structure, until this 375, and below 375, there's nothing really there again, and into 350. So keep an eye watching that. But if we continue to bounce back up and break bull out of this whole entire zone, then we may get a rocket fuel potentially back up to 500. So we'll see. But for now, obviously we are at the bottom of the range, and it's looking pretty weak. So bounce, 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 bounce. Prior support, now I think it's resistance, rejection right here last week, rejecting again this week. So yeah, bulls either need to show up right away on Monday, defend this triple bottom right here, 406, or bears are going to crack through it. And then we're looking down to 400 psychological level. Yeah, if bears crack through this triple bottom low, 400 and 398 is in play. For bulls, get over this red line. Right, prior support, acting resistance. Get over that red line. We have a daily uptrend confirm. Then okay, we're now looking push that shit up to 425. But for now, no signs of bounce yet. Yeah, 0. So we'll see if it bounces Monday. All right. Apple. So the only chart that looks good, pretty much, on Friday, what's Apple? Flat, right? It really bounced 9%, and Qs went down 2%. This still able to hold flat. So that's pretty strong for me. But overall, we are coming into resistance as well, right? This all-time high structure is pretty much the top of this wick. So yeah, so we'll see if bears, even if we get a slight pullback, it's going to be healthy. It's going to still be a daily bull flag. Right, if we come back all the way down to 241, it's still a daily bull flag. So no red flags for me on Apple. Get a shallow pullback and we bounce again, then we'll test this all-time high structure. Let's see if we can test 250. For bears, you definitely want to crack through this, negate that bull flag, and come down to test this 237 prior all-time high resistance. Now it's going to probably act as support. All right, let's look at the most important stock as of next week. Earnings on Wednesday. All right, we drew this resistance together a couple weeks ago. Rejection, rejection, and 4 rejections this week. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I was not surprised, right? A 27% bounce into resistance is pretty tough to get over if you got a straight bounce into it. And we have earnings next week, right? Nobody's want to hold something. Right? If we had Stellar's earnings like right here, around here, right, or something like here, amazing earnings down here, and it would come up to here, there's a good chance we'll break it. But 20%, 7% move straight into resistance, and then we have these uncertainty of earnings next week. Yeah, it's probably not gonna hit. We're probably not gonna break out. For me, let's see if 131 holds. 131.8 to be exact, but support levels are not exact. So let's see if 138 holds, which is this level that we've been battling a million times over. This is almost a range trade too, right? This is more like an ascending triangle, but you guys get the idea. It's been range bounding for a while, since June. So for me, earnings will probably dictate it, right? If we get good earnings, maybe we'll gap up above this resistance, and then we'll just go, and then we'll start to test these levels over 450. Sorry, not 450, 150. We'll test this 148, 150, and then we'll test 153. And we'll break through all that, well, all-time highs, and market is probably going to go to all-time highs. And bearish reaction, well, maybe we'll gap below 131, and then it will act as resistance, and then we're now going to come back to test this 115 again. Right, bearish reaction, we'll gap down, back test, boom, daily downtrend, come back to test the low of the range again. So we'll see how it goes. For me, into Wednesday, probably Monday, Tuesday, probably be something like this. I don't know, a weak bounce, right? Let's say the 2% bounce or something, or and then just chopping it within this range until earnings. All right, let's look out for you guys. Feel free to like, share, subscribe. You guys learn anything, and I'll be doing commodities update tomorrow. And if you guys are into commodities, and have a great rest of you guys the weekend. And I will see you guys, tomorrow for commodities update.